binti Muhammad Syarif. My team is Hanan Haswani binti Johari, Nurhanisa binti Muhammad Sarid, and also Siti Izura binti Muhammad Kama as a team for this project. Thank you. So hi, so we have choose Monaliza Kekuli as a company to make our group research regarding the sole proprietorship company business, or we call it as enterprise. So Monaliza Kekuli Enterprise is owned by Tengku Monaliza binti Tengku Hussein. So the type of the business is a bakery and also pastry business. So the business is located at Bandar Baru Bani, Selangor. The business founded since 2005 is actually a home-based business. So Tengku Monaliza decided to make the home-based business to more serious and more commercialized. So she started her own bakery in 2014 in commercialized premise. So the business activity is going more fast and more commercialized. So she started to get the orders from the online and also the walk-in customer to make a cake for the event. And also she also sent out her product to the patrons or to the other vendors to make her business to be more knowable. And actually the founder said that this company is funded by her own capital, which is the owner's capital. She used 60,000 ringgit Malaysia as a capital to start up their business. And since then, the business are more bigger and bigger. So it is a very good startup for the youngster to inspired by Monaliza Kekuli founder.
Hi, today I will explain about business characteristic for Monaliza Kekuli. There was about qualitative characteristic of accounting information. For information, qualitative characteristics are the qualities or attributes that make financial accounting information useful to the user. The objective is to ensure that the information is useful to the user in making economic decisions. In this company, the qualitative characteristics of the available accounting information are important because it facilitates the company's management and investor to use the company's financial statement to make informed decisions. The first characteristic in this company is fundamental qualitative characteristic. This company used two fundamental qualitative characteristics of financial reports, such as relevant and faithful representations. First is relevant. That means the characteristic of relevant implies that the information should have predictive and confirmatory value for user in making and evaluating economic decisions. The relevance of information is affected by its nature and materiality. Information is material if omitting it or misstating it could influence decision making. A financial report should include all information which is material to a particular entity. The business characteristics of Monaliza Kekuli are predictive value, that is provided predictive power regarding possible further event. That means if the information can be used as an input for users making prediction. Last is confirmatory value is provided information about past events. Next, about forceful representation. The characteristic of Monaliza trickery imply that financial information faithfully represents the phenomena it purports to represent. This depiction implies that the financial information is complete and free from error. The first is complete. The Monaliza trickery financial statement needs to state relevant information and should be presented in a way that makes it easier for customer to understand and avoid wrong implication. And the second is free from error. There are no material error of omission, as so that the Monaliza trickery financial information give are true of the reporting entity. And the second characteristic in this company is enhancing qualitative characteristic. First is Monaliza trickery use verifiability. Different knowledgeable and independent observe could reach consensus. Maybe not possible to verify some information until a further period. Verification can be direct or indirect. And the last is Monaliza use comparability. Information of this company is more useful if it can be compared with similar information about other entities or some entity for another date.
Assalamualaikum. I hope you have a good day. My name is Nurhanisa binti Matsari. Today I will go over the result of the honor interview about the classification of business. There is 5 items in the classification of business. So let's take a look on the first item. The first component is asset, which are separated into 2 categories. First, non-current asset and current asset. Under the non-current asset, there is non-tangible current asset, which is bakery equipment such as electric mixer, oven, steam industry, display rack, and bakery tools. Other than that, owner brought on asset such as a vehicle to the company. For the second category is current asset. The only current asset that are currently owned by the company is cash in hand and cash in bank. The next element is capital. Monaliza Bakery operated out of her home and had a starting capital of 60 ringgit. Early business, she started off using her hands and the oven her mother gave her rather than any machine. When Monaliza Bakery Company expanded, she opened a shop and starting with 60,000 cash as a capital. In terms of liability, the owner does not take any liability. The company used existing cash to run their business for all the transaction and from the supplier too. She using a cash for. In terms of liability, the owner does not take any liability. All transaction and supplier are using existing cash to run their business. For the next point, I will explain about the company revenue. As we know, the gross increase resulting from the business activity. The bakery revenue is sales from daily reservation, send product to petrol station, and walk-in customer. So for the walk-in customer are seen as a bonus for Monaliza Bakery, and the total sales every month accumulate up to 30,000 per month. And my last point for classification business is expenses. As we can see, expenses from Monaliza Bakery are cost of goods sold, salary and wages for 4 workers, rent for 2,000, water and electric bill 2,000, raw material 5,000, and for transportation expenses will change every month, depends on the reservation and the delivery.
Recording process for the accounting company follow this step below. First, source documents. Source documents are the physical basis on which business transactions are recorded. Source documents are typically retained for use as evidence when auditor later review a company's. They usually contain a description of a company transaction, the date of the transaction, a specific amount, and an authorizing signature. A source document does not have to be a paper document. It can also be electronic. Monaliza Bakery keep all the documents such as receipts, invoice, bill into the specific file. Second, journal entry. It's used to record a business transaction in the accounting records of a business. Monaliza Bakery record all the transactions by manually every day. Example, when she generates a sales for cash, this increases both the revenue account and the cash account. Third, ledger. Ledger is record the account for all assets, liabilities, equity, revenue, and expenses. Next, the trial balance. Trial balance is an accounting report that lists the ending balance in each general ledger account. This means that it states the total of each asset, liability, equity, revenue, expenses, gain, and loss account. The trial balance is run as part of the month-end closing process. The report is primarily used to ensure that the total of all debit and all the credits equally, so that Monaliza Bakery can manage the cash flow every month. Next, adjustment. An accounting adjustment is a business transaction that has not been included in the accounting records of the business of a specific date. Most transactions are eventually recorded through the recordation, for example, a supplier invoice, a customer billing, or the receipt of cash. Monaliza Bakery only paid bill electric and water every 2 months, and she needs to make adjustment months that her not paid as accrual. And lastly, financial statements. Financial statements are a collection of summary levels report about an organization's financial results, financial position, and cash flow. They include the income statement, balance sheet, and statement of cash flow. For Monaliza Bakery, financial statement is so important to the company to renew their contract with Petronas as a vendor every year. Strengths and weaknesses of the business during recording process. Strength. First, they do filing once receive bills, invoice, and receipt, and always keep the document in a specific file and scan the document. Next, all the transactions will record it daily and ensure that the cash flow is sufficient, since the company is fully dependent on their sales revenue to buy a raw material. Besides that, the company also submits an account to a professional accountant for second review. In this way, the company can identify mistakes or errors that have been made. And lastly, to avoid a lot of a debt or overdue payment, the company does not take any credit purchase from the supplier. Weaknesses for Monaliza Bakery during recording process are: first, they record the account by manual and risk loss the data is high. Second, late payment received for sales from the main customer, which is Petronas. Petronas will make the payment every 2 months, and it will affect
the company by rolling up the revenue to pay expenses and buy raw material. And lastly, is difficulty to trace customer payment via digital payment such as JomPay and e-wallet. At the end of the month, the company has a problem to record the payment for or not tally in a payment received due to digital payment have not been recorded.